I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This land of ours is under attack. The time has come, we're gonna take it back. Just wait and see. Don't tread on me. I won't sit back, stand idly by. Watch the heart of my nation die. Oh, not me. Don't tread on me. Don't tread on my Bible, don't tread on my guns. Don't you tread on my faith in God's only Son. Don't tread on me. Don't tread.
Hey everybody, this is Jon Marietta, and it's another beautiful day in Fayette County, except for the rain. Anyways, today's show, it was a beautiful day. You can add a prettier morning. Today's show is being brought to you by Monarch Windows and Doors, Mauser's Garage and Tire Center, Mung's Auto Body, Patriots.online.com, Fayette County Recovery Storage and U-Haul, the IDF of Fayette County. Give Hubie a call. If you need something found, he'll find it. Gunslingers is 724-707-4442. Tactical Civics. The Ink Spot in South Connersville, Solid Foundation Ministries, Highline Motorsports, Gun Owners of America, Hillbilly Jon Radio is it, and check me out on YouTube. That's a big thing right now. And Jon Marietta for We the People. I want to start out today with I ran across this yesterday, but anyways, it's Psalms 91, and a lot of people call it Anyways, I'm going to read it. It's Psalms 91. We live within the shadow of the Almighty, sheltered by the God who is above all gods. This I declare, that He alone is my refuge, my place for safety. He is my God, and I am trusting in Him, for He rescues you from every trap and protects you from every fatal plague. He will shield you with His wings. They will shelter you. His faithful promises are your armor. Now you need to be afraid of the dark anymore, nor fear the dangers of the day, nor dread the plagues of darkness, nor disasters in the morning. Although 1,000 fall at my side, though 10,000 are dying around me, the evil will not touch me. I will see how the wicked are punished, but I will not share it. For Jehovah is my refuge. I choose the God above all gods to shelter me. How then can evil overtake me, or any plague come near me? For He orders His angels to protect you wherever you go. They will steady you with their hands to keep you from stumbling against the rocks of the trail. You can safely meet a lion on steep or step on poisonous snakes. Yes, even trample them beneath your feet. For the Lord says, because He loves you, I will accuse Him. I will make Him great because He trusts in my name. When He calls on me, I will answer. I will be with him in trouble and rescue him and honor him. I will satisfy him with a full life and give him my satisfaction, or my salvation, rather. I ran across that yesterday. It's called the Soldier Psalm, and it's about how God protects us. And I thought that would be pretty cool to read. I got a caller coming in. I don't know if he's there. Okay. Steve, are you with us?
I'm here.
Okay. This is Steve Stern. Yeah, Steve has a national podcast. I guess I'll let you explain exactly what you're up to and what you're doing.
Sure. So I work on precinct strategy and election integrity. And I'm 83 years old. I've been in business 70 years. We own the largest patriotic website in the world called theflagshirt.com. So all these things got share of the Broward County Republican Party, and I work closely with the RNC, with the Trump campaign, et cetera, et cetera. So about 2 years ago when I saw President Trump, he had endorsed precinct strategy, which is the Republican Party and is the committee men and committee women that get involved all over the country. So we were doing a Zoom meeting for precinct strategy, and he had endorsed it. And while I was up there with him for a meeting, the main reason I went up there is to ask him to talk about getting people involved when he went to his rallies. And as we were talking, he actually endorsed two of my candidates. This was 2 days before the last election, which was very nice of him. And then he asked me what I thought about the 2024 election, and I said, well, listen, Mr. President, nothing has changed. The machines are still there. Everything is going on the same way, and it's probably gotten worse. He said, you're probably right. And he said, what do you think we should do about it? Well, we talked about my Zoom, and I could do a election integrity Zoom, bring all the people on who knew what they were talking about, and getting people on to listen to that to try to save the election. So we did that for every 2 weeks for 2 years. And about 6 months ago, I was on Steve Bannon in the morning. And what I usually do, I'm old school, so I bring little cards up and I put my name up and everything like that. But this time, I put my email on the bottom of the screen, and Steve gave me a little bit more time than usual. And we got 1,000 people sign up. And then he said to me before the show was over, he said, Steve, we're going to put this live on Getter and on Rumble. I said, well, that's terrific. So we got 38,000 people to listen. And I said to myself, wait, as an 83-year-old guy, you got to learn something new every day. So what I learned was, let me find podcasters to stream it. So as we built podcasters last week, we had 110 podcasters stream this live all over the country.
Wow.
And all over, actually, the world, which I found out. And we had 5 million people on it. So we had built it up from 400,000 to 1 million to 2 million to 3 million to 4 million. It keeps growing. Now, not only did it grow, but we started streaming with people into Australia, the Philippines, Canada, London, Japan, Hong Kong, Russia, Germany, Peru, London. And these are all facts because we actually had more than 5 million people on it. But some of the people like yournews.com and totalnews.com don't know how many people they get on it. And there's other people that haven't reported in on the streaming, and we don't have time to call them all because we're already doing another one here this Monday. So this Monday, we plan to have maybe close to 7 million people on it.
Wow.
And it's going to be at 1:50 Eastern Time. And there's multiple ways to listen. But let me first tell you who's going to be on there and what they're going to say, because many people, including General Flynn, Susie Wiles, the head of the Trump campaign, and now the person who's going to be in charge of the White House, and Wayne Root, and about 10 other people texted me thanking me for everything I did, which was very nice of them. So we're going to have Steve Gruber on. He's in Michigan. He's on Real America Voice, and he's got a show at 6 in the morning and then at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. He's going to be talking about how we saved Michigan. John Fredericks, who's on Real America Voice, he'll be on. I'll be on his show if you want to see it, 7:45 Friday morning. He'll be on talking about early voting and how he and I work on TV all over the place to get people to vote early. We're going to have Michelle Swinick on. Michelle Swinick has a website, and I've worked with her for 4 years, and she was a judge in Arizona and showed how the election was stolen in Maricopa County. So if you go to www.savemyfreedom.us, you will be able to find out everything about that and all the lawsuits she has, because Maricopa County is still doing the same baloney they did before. Then we're going to have Jody Cox on. Jody Cox, she is a podcaster, and we try to have one podcaster on every time so that they can tell us what they're doing and they can get more people on their podcast. I did her first podcast about a year ago, and she did my first podcast. And if you go to Stern American Rumble, you can see the last Zoom meeting that we had and hear all the wonderful people we had on. And the new one will be on there at 2 o'clock Eastern Time live, or you can come on with my email at sstern1054@gmail.com. We'll give you a link. We'll have Mike Lindell on. Mike will be telling you all his new things to do. You know, he did a lot of stuff with trying to get the machines off and many, many other things, and he's spent a lot of his own money on helping this country. Then we'll have Hannah Faulkner on. She's on Patriot.tv. She has a podcast. She's 17 years old. She has a show. She's been at Clay Clark talking. She's all over the place. So we need more 18-year-olds, 17-year-olds, 16-year-olds to get involved. And Turning Point USA is helping us do that. Then we're going to have on Colonel John Mills. Colonel John Mills was in Taiwan for the elections. He also talks about Virginia. He's going to tell us what he's doing to try to save Virginia. As you know, Virginia is kind of Democratic, even though Trump won or came close. I'm not sure if he won that state. I think he did. But anyway.
Yeah, very close.
Yeah. Then we're going to have Greg Stenstrom on. Greg Stenstrom is one of the stars in Pennsylvania. He's been everywhere on TV. He has a lawsuit up at the Supreme Court with 359 pages of fraud that he wants the Supreme Court to rule that the Justice Department should come down on all the people where he has evidence on that. Mm-hmm. Then we're going to have Linda Sinkowitz on. Linda Sinkowitz, one of my stars, she's in Connecticut. She can give anybody in the country that has an organization 500 people that voted twice or who are registered twice. Now, think about this. The country, 500 people. How many people have voted twice in this country? It's unbelievable. Then we're going to have Cleta Mitchell on. Cleta Mitchell has a Zoom meeting every Friday. She's the top person in election integrity. She has been with President Trump, working with him many years ago. She's right up there in Virginia, right next to D.C., so she's up there with the lawyers. He is a lawyer, and with the Congress people, trying to get the laws changed. She has every top person on, and we work together. She'll be on talking about what she's doing in the new year to do this. Now, then we're going to have Andy Mangione on. Andy is with AMAC. He's going to tell you how all his people helped to turn the vote out. So there's going to be a few more people on there, but we have the top people in the country that come on. And on the last one, we had people like Jovan Pulitzer, Mel Kay, Liz Harrington, Catherine Engelbrecht, Marley Hornick, Garland Favorino. These are names that you want to know because they are the experts in election integrity. Now, why was it so, let's say, less cheating than any time else? Because we caught him. And Laura Trump, Christina Norton, McGinley, Christina Bobb, and a few other people, they worked on this thing with many lawyers.
I think
if you remember,
you're with us. Go ahead.
Yeah, if you remember in the 2020 election, all these things happened after the election. Therefore, nothing got accomplished because all the judges said we had we couldn't do it. We didn't have standing. You didn't know what you were doing. You didn't have, attorneys didn't know what they were doing. Mm-hmm. So we did this all before. Now we say we, the RNC, the Trump campaign, spent tons on lawyers, and I got a gold star because people went to protectthevote.com to sign up for poll watchers and poll workers. So I went on about 30 programs, got them about 20 to 30,000 extra poll watchers. So 2020, they had 100,000 poll watchers and poll workers. 2024, we had over 200,000. Now think about that. Double the amount of people that were out, seeing how the people were cheating, in many of these countries. So,
well, what we got to do, Steve. I want to let you know. I'm on that. I'm a named plaintiff on that lawsuit with Greg at U.S. Supreme Court. He's real interested to see if Judge Alito addresses me as the Hillbilly or Mr. Hillbilly. So, we worked on. I will tell you that we did a lot of things, and I've helped him. He's helped me out greatly, and I'm one of the only people that's actually got a hand recount in the state of Pennsylvania. Yeah. I mean, so that.
Well, Greg is a fantastic guy. We talk just about every other day, and whatever we can do, we get him wherever we can. And he needs a couple of secretaries to help him because he knows the law, and you helping him is fantastic. And we bring him on every time. He's been on our show every time to bring to the people. They love him, and I like to talk about the people that are doing all this work because we have a lot of people such as Sam Anthony on Your News. He's helping me get all these messages out.
I'm working with him also. I mean,
there you go.
Yep, and I'm working with several other people because you put me through to these people and helped me out. But I wanted to have you on and for you to talk about your podcast on Monday. And if somebody wants to pick it up, where do they need to go to? It's going to be really important that we get this out very clearly.
Yeah, if you want to stream it or something like that, just give me a call at 954-980-0041 or email me at sstern1054@gmail.com. To get 5 million people views and really be legitimate views is a difficult situation. I spend 2 days prior to it texting hundreds of people. Our team sends out hundreds of thousands of emails all over to get people on. So it takes a huge amount of work because people forget, the day. But the copies are on there, and people go on, so you get a lot more views, and they learn. You know what I mean? Just like learning from Greg and learning from Leah Hoops and all the other people that work with us. And, they go on and on. John Womack, Garland Favorito, he's fantastic down in Georgia. You notice Georgia didn't have any crime in this thing. It was, fantastic. Jovan Pulitzer does a fantastic job, knows what he's doing. So we bring the top people on, and those people teach all these other people what to do. And, just today I got a girl in Pennsylvania that knew me before but didn't connect. And she says, I got 1,000 people working, with me. And her name, you may know her, Maria Miller.
Maria Miller's. I'm going to be at Maria Miller's here in a couple of weeks. We're having a big meeting out there.
Are you being there for Thanksgiving? I think she's having Thanksgiving.
I'm going on Saturday after Thanksgiving.
Okay. So you know how good she is. So here's a person that didn't contact me, that didn't even know that the Zoom meeting was going on, and now she's got 1,000 people that she can put on it. Unfortunately, today her husband went into the hospital. Yeah, hasn't been talking. Yeah. Hopefully he's okay.
Ben went to the hospital today, so we need to keep him in our prayers. But 100%. I know you got to get to another call at 4:30 here, and I'm going to have you back on again, and we're going to work together as much as we possibly can.
Great. Well, thank you very much for having me on. Sorry I got to run fast, but I got another meeting to go to. I'm the president of homeowners. I've been on the board for 33 years, so I can't miss that. So. People say, how do you do it all? You know what I say? My dad said, just do it, and I do it. And we got to get people who are younger to get off their butts and start to work. Thank God that all the people came out this time to vote and to work. And I want to thank all the people that did a great job because, people don't get paid. They work 12 hours a day to save this country. And the nice thing is President Trump understands how these people are. And if he could send a letter to everybody, I've been lucky enough to get a bunch of letters from him. And, people send me all kinds of stuff. It is a great honor to work for this country and, do it for the love of the country. So thank you again for having me on, and we'll be on again.
Yeah, take care, Steve. Day. Stay safe. Keep your powder dry.
You got it.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
Okay. Yep. A lot of people pretend to misunderstand MAGA, but what's confusing about making America great? It's a fundamental goal that every patriot, regardless of party affiliation, shares. It transcends party labels and gets to the crux of America. The opportunity for our society to strive for right over settling for what's wrong. We, the people, can only make a true, informed, and honest choice if there is integrity in our elections, if the process is transparent, to ensure fairness and honesty in the choices we make. Americans will make them. I have embarked on this crusade for election integrity, not to sway our choices one way or the other, but to ensure the results are legal, authentic, and accurate. This is fundamental for we the people to make America great again. God bless each and every one of you, and God bless America. I am Jon Marietta, and I am the Hillbilly. Paid for by friends of Jon Marietta, the Hillbilly. Okay, and we're back, and I think Gina, we already got another caller. I think Tim's on the line with us. Tim, are you there?
Yes, I am. How are you?
I'm doing good. I just kicked Steve Stearns off the bus, and now we're putting you on in the driver's seat. How's that sound?
Oh, thank you.
We're getting a little bit of a funny echo for some reason. I don't know whether it's on my.
Squeaky.
I don't know. It's a squeaky thing. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if it's on your side or not, Tim. You there?
Yes, I am. I hear that too. I don't think it's on my side.
Well, anyways, we'll try to go forward, or maybe or maybe we'll get you to call back in and see if we can. But once you do that, why don't you just call right back in and we'll see if it'll clear up.
Yeah, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Sometimes with things going on, we're getting a snowstorm, and who knows what's going to happen here in Fayette County. But the mountains are they're calling for several inches of snow right now.
Well, I'm just going to let you know the weathermen better be right, because I had plans on Friday to go to the football game, and now if the only 2 snowflakes fall, I'm going to be very upset.
Okay. Let's see if we can get Steve to call back, or Tim to call back in for us. But I'll tell you what, I was on a Zoom call. I was on a Zoom call with let's try it again, Tim. How's that?
That sounds better to me.
way
How's it
better.
on your end?
Well, we're not sure. It could be something to do with the internet. It could be who knows what's going on. But, anyways, I was telling everybody we're expecting a snowstorm here, and it was 70 degrees this afternoon, and we're expecting. They're calling for 6 to 12 inches on the ridges tonight. Well, actually starting tomorrow through tomorrow. So, but anyways, I got to speak with Tim this morning for a few minutes, and he's involved in so many different things. But one of the things that he's involved with is he's one of Greg Stenstrom's friends. I believe I got that right, and he can tell you the history of how all this started. And I'm just going to turn you loose. I want you, if you want to tell anybody a little bit of a bio about yourself, or you just want to go get started, that's fine with me.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, I'm a classmate. I went to college with Greg Stenstrom. We both graduated from the Naval Academy. I was a career military officer in the Marine Corps, and I went to National War College, Georgetown University. I got my doctorate degree at USC, and I'm a policy and strategy guy. And the benefit of being able to do that is I have my perspective, which my whole life, from being a combat leader to essentially just talking in generalities, is all about taking complex things and making them simple for people to understand, specifically people who are working hard every day and expecting their elected leaders and their public servants to protect their public good and to take care of the business, which is clearly not happening.
Yeah.
I think and we spoke about, I think what the problem is most of our elected worry about getting reelected instead of worrying about taking care of the people's needs, the people that surround them. And they try to do things that aren't controversial. They try not to do anything that would rock the boat, or so they would lose any votes. This is where we're at. I mean, in Pennsylvania, Act 77 needs to be repealed right away, but we can't seem to get any of our state legislators to even bang heads about it. So we'll have to figure out how we can change that to make that happen, because it's a very poorly written bill, and we need to make sure things with the election. We have to take back our elections, and we have to have transparency. And once we get the transparency in elections is foremost to what happens at the county level, at the state level, and at the federal level. We have to make it. We have to fix it. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure you agree with me on this.
Right. I would argue that all politics is local, and as people move further downstream, they lose sight of the fact that if they were elected, that they're no longer responding to the people who elected them.
Right.
And that's up a whole new kettle of fish when you talk about people who are permanent bureaucratic members because they're not elected.
Yeah.
Well, that's the problem, and we spoke about this. It's the bureaucracy that's leading us, because they're helping keep the same people in elected positions so they don't lose their jobs.
Right. I think that people tend to make this problem more complex than it is. I'm not saying it's not a complex problem, but I don't believe it's really that difficult. What I mean by that is, number one, I have elected leaders who stay in their elected positions until their constituents vote them out.
Right.
But that's not the same with a public servant.
Mm-hmm.
And public servants right now are getting a bad name because people are saying, well, it's the public servants' fault, right? They're saying, well, the public servants aren't doing their job. It's the public servants who are not protecting the public's good, which is their job. You know, they're failing. But it's actually not quite that simple, because inside the construct of these public servants, we have two kinds. We have permanent public servants who are the bulwark against those people who are trying to take the public's good, be them elected political leaders or business leaders or domestic or international actors. It is the permanent public servant who is the bulwark, who goes, no, that's not going to happen. No, can't do that. Nope. But we have two types, and people forget this. We have a political appointed public servant.
Yeah.
And the politically appointed public servants are there for a reason.
Yeah.
Now, we argue that the politically appointed public servant is there to help the chief executive perform and to actually envision and then actualize his vision of what's good for the country.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that makes sense. That's why we elect up to there's roughly 4,500 positions in the federal government that are appointed by the chief executive. But in 1977, something very unique happened in the government, and a lot of people didn't understand it. They saw it, but they didn't realize what it was. We took this political bureaucrat and we created a brand new type of political bureaucrat. There's actually two. There's a temporary political bureaucrat who stays there and serves at the pleasure of the president. And then when the president leaves, they leave. But there's a new kind created in 1978. And these are political bureaucrats with lifetime appointments. They never leave. And more important than never leaving is they have control over what gets audited, what gets investigated, who gets audited, who gets investigated. And they stay there, permanent position.
Yep, because they have to dictate what's happening in our country.
And they decide what happens in the country. They are politically appointed bureaucrats with lifetime appointment, and they control everything. And they all work in this organization. It's referred to, the term is called sui generis. Have you ever heard that term?
No, you need to explain that. I've heard the term before, but you need to explain that.
I've never heard it.
It's a highfalutin term that simply means unto itself, unique and different. And the term, people use the term sui generis, what they're really saying is this is something that is so unique and so different, the normal rules don't apply. So if you go to one...
Go ahead.
So if you go to one of those highfalutin schools, and go get yourself a degree, you'll learn to say sui generis. But like with every big word that's ever used, it has two purposes. One, to make you feel bad, right?
Yeah.
Because you either know or don't.
Right.
And two, to hide something.
Yeah.
And it was an incredible event. So in 1978, they created this sui generis construct, and they started introducing these people. Well, when it first started out, like everything else, it was a good idea. In 1978, they created these inspectors general. And these inspectors general would be nominated by the president and confirmed by the Senate, and they would go into the agencies. And they would work for the head of the agency. And they would ensure the effectiveness and efficiency of the programs and operations working for the agency head, because he's responsible to the chief executive and in turn Congress and the people, right? And the president looks at him and says, you're doing a bad job, you're fired, you're gone.
Yep.
You know, and so the head of the agency, because it's several thousands and thousands of people, hundreds of millions of dollars would say, I need some full-time guys to help me. So they said, you'll use the IGs. They are experts in oversight. They're experts in auditing and investigating, and they will help you run an effective and efficient agency. And everybody thought it was a great idea in 1978.
Totally.
But something changed.
Yeah.
And then what happened was that was the Carter administration, right?
Yes, in 2008. So when they first started this, people forget, but in 2008, we had what we called the watershed event. They said that all of the IGs that were working for the agency heads were now going to work for themselves. I want you to think about that for a minute. That's equivalent of me saying, I'm going to come into your house and I'm going to work for you, like, say, a carpenter or a maid or whatever. And I'm doing work for you, right? And then all of a sudden you say, I'd like you to do this or I'd like you to do that because you're paying my bills, right? You tell me what to do. And all of a sudden I say to you, not so fast. I now work for somebody else. And I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. That's not democracy. And that certainly isn't the way our government was created. As a matter of fact, this singular event in 2008 was actually planned. It was planned to create the control mechanism so that we could run an alternative governance construct. It's just that simple. It was no magic mystery. And what people forget is this. Let me ask you a question. When you hear the name James Earl Carter, President, United States, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm a peanut farmer.
Right. But what else comes to mind right away? Was he a highly successful president?
He was probably the worst president in modern history. Well, up until this last one.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think Biden might have taken the trophy on that.
But do you know what I would tell you?
No. What would you tell us?
He was the most transformational president in the 20th century.
But
he literally retransformed the entire government of the United States.
But not in a good way.
Yeah, definitely not in a good way.
If you believe that the government is too important to be trusted to elected leaders, he's your guy. If you believe that I need a group of people who will determine what is good and what is bad and will run the government even when they're not there, then, and this is what the administrative state is. And a lot of people played with it, and they talked about it and said deep state and, the dragons of the north central southern state and, aliens and all kinds of nonsense. But the reality is we created an administrative state, and the administrative state is overriding the very laws that have been passed by our elected leaders.
Right.
That's just what it is. I mean, I wish I could make this more complicated, but that's not the business I'm in. You want to know what the problem is? Here's the problem.
Yeah.
We have allowed the administrative state to override the very laws that have been passed by our elected leaders. And so we've seen some very profound events. We saw the Supreme Court basically strike down a major piece of administrative law, saying, no, your job is not to act like judges. Your job is to administrate and implement the laws that are passed by Congress, who are elected. You're not a judge.
Right.
And the IG said, well, wait a minute, I kind of beg to differ with you because I have a lifetime appointment. I'm a political appointee. And I determine what does and doesn't get investigated and audited. So in a way, and there is no appellate review for me. So in a way, I am the priest of the deep state.
Well, exactly. Exactly. One of the analogies that I thought that you've done very well is about Pennsylvania and how we're on the forefront of this battle here in Pennsylvania. I mean, I'm going to call it a battle, or you can call it a battle. I call it a crusade about how we need to take back our state.
Yeah.
We have to work on our local first. I mean, that has to be what's important. But you made the analogy, and I'll let you say it about George Washington crossing the Delaware. And that's where we're at right now. But I mean, I can let you go ahead.
You use the term campaign, right?
Crusade.
Well, crusade. Well, when you said I said campaign, because I'm a trained strategist. And so when somebody says campaign, that's a series of interconnected battles towards an overall objective. That's what a campaign is. We slog it out here, slog it out there. It's sort of like watching a football team on day one. A pro football team is saying, are they going to go to the Super Bowl? Well, on day one, I could go to any team in any state, in any city, and I could jump up, right? I could literally jump up and say, they're going to go to the Super Bowl. I could do that, and people would laugh maybe, or some wouldn't, and some people would come along with me and some may not. But if I said the same thing after the, say, 10th game of the season, and I jumped up and said, they're going to the Super Bowl, you would say, what are you talking about? They've lost 10 games in a row.
Yeah.
The only way they're going to get to the Super Bowl is if they buy a ticket. What are you saying? You see? So I can fool some people some of the time, but I'm not going to fool all the people all the time.
Right.
So what this means is this. Is this a crusade? Well, you bet it is. It's a crusade for you to preserve what? The system as it was designed to be operated.
Our republic.
So, yes. So here we have a lot of naughty, very naughty bureaucrats saying they're going to tell you what's good and what's bad. And you're going to listen to them. You're going to do what they said.
Yeah.
Now, if this was day one, you might do that.
Yeah.
But not after the 10th game. You're saying no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Because we ain't going to the Super Bowl. As a matter of fact, we're going down the toilet.
Right.
No. The answer is not. It's no. And I'm going to take us back. What we talk about in the bigger, when I say bigger picture, please don't take that in the wrong way. I'm not trying to say I'm better than anybody, but in the big picture, our job, if you really think about it, is to connect people and to engage them.
Exactly. And you want to make...
And then...
Yeah, one of the things that I really think about, Tim, all the time is it's not how smart I need to be. It's how I need to make people realize how smart they can be.
Yeah.
Yeah. And everybody knows this. My dad taught me this when I was a kid. He said the only problem with going to school, and when I say go to school, I mean like go and get advanced degrees and start hanging out with all those folks and all that, he says, is you will lose. And you will start to truly understand the difference between being smart and being clever. And he says, and I certainly hope and pray you don't end up being a clever man. And I said, well, what do you mean, Dad? I mean, what does that mean? He goes, smart people try to figure out how things work.
Yeah.
But clever people are all about trying to figure out how to get away with stuff.
Yeah.
And
we have...
And you're exactly right. Go ahead.
We have clever men.
Yep.
Naughty, clever men, not elected, trying to pull power. And the reason is this. It's because the people want to believe that we all are going to do a good job.
But do you think part of that is that we were conditioned to think that also? Because, No,
the Founding Fathers were clear. The Founding Fathers absolutely said it. They said that the responsibility of democracy rests with the men. It rests with the people. People do not want to be good. will not have a democracy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's what Franklin said. Franklin says, "I've given you a republic if you can keep it."
Yeah.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
I think that what the problem is, though, like, we were conditioned to think that the people in the government were doing a good job, and they weren't. That we're conditioned to think like the news anchors and all these people are smart, and they're not smart. Like you said, they're clever. They're clever. They're
Yes.
manipulating everybody's minds.
Yes.
They're working, convoluting with those that are in higher power. And they're trying to make us believe that we're not as smart as they are. And we're smarter than they are if we don't allow ourselves to be conditioned to believe that they have more intelligence than we do. Well, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, this is the PhD for the PFC.
Right. You don't need a degree to know
No.
what's happening in your own community. You just need to attend
No.
meetings. You know?
That's exactly right. Now,
You need to
this
see it for
is what-
yourself. Sorry.
Well, what we refer to this is as CER. Connect the people,
yeah.
engage people, and restore the democracy,
Yeah.
the ER.
Yeah.
But this is something you need to understand. Well, the people who aren't real interested in you taking control and having authority over the affairs of your life,
yeah.
they also have a strategy. Did you know that?
Yeah, I know. I feel like whenever you're, like, as a parent, if you're trying to get something accomplished, let's say, I always take it back to the school board because it's what I ran for and it's what I know. You know, if you come to the table with an idea, that you rely on the people that are on the school board or a part of the administration to connect you to the people to, you know, to execute your idea. But if they don't want to execute your idea, then they just ignore you and they pay no mind to you. But because they don't want your idea to get, to be executed, because they might then lose their power because, you know.
Absolutely. And if I were to put on my academic hat and put a tweed jacket on and grab a pipe,
Yeah.
I would give a class, right? And in
Right.
that class, I would say, we're going to talk about ICDCER.
Yeah.
And all the students would look at me and go, what does that even mean, right? And I'd say,
Yeah.
well, your enemy, your opponent, wants to isolate you.
Yeah.
They want to continue,
Yeah.
and then they will destroy you.
Yep.
I see. So we have to counter this. How do
Yeah.
we counter it? With connect, engage, and restore.
Yeah.
So while they're trying to isolate you, we
Yeah.
want to connect you.
Yeah.
And while they try to contain you, we're going to engage you. And when they try to destroy
Right.
you, we are going to restore.
Yep. And that's
So
what we
they
need to do.
isolate, contain, and destroy. And at the same time, we connect,
Yep.
we engage, and we restore.
Yeah.
And when you stop to think about this in the bigger picture,
Yeah.
what exactly is Trump? Honestly, what is he?
He's a disruptor.
Yeah. But
Yes,
That's
But
all he
yeah.
is. I mean, that's what he is, and that's what he does best, because he looks at things through the common. He looks at things like the common person would look at it, and he says, "This is what we need to do."
But the mainstream media wants you to believe that he's not qualified to lead our country. Like, what are the qualifications? You know,
Well, but the larger question is, you mean they're trying to isolate, contain, and
Yeah.
destroy the disruptor?
yeah,
Exactly. That's
Huh.
what it's all about.
yeah, because they don't want us to have the power back, and Trump knows, you know, he doesn't want the power. He wants to give it back to the people, right?
Yes. So what he represents is, as a disruptor, what we call in the business an iconoclast. Have you heard the term?
Yes. Yes.
An iconoclast is the one who destroys the sacred statues. He is the one who destroys the status quo.
Right?
And then there's another saying, nobody loves a prophet in the hometown.
This is true.
Because the prophet in the hometown is going, you bet they're doing naughty stuff in that other town, and
Yeah.
you'll agree. and they need to fix their budget in the other town, and you'll agree. They need to change their clothes in the other town, and you'll agree. As a matter of fact, they need to do everything different in the other town, and you'll all agree with it. And you will love the process until he turns around and says to you, you need to change your clothes, and you need to fix your house, and you need to start thinking about the fact that you need to take care of yourself before you start pointing at others.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You don't want him around no more.
No. And they don't want anybody that thinks that way around.
But now this is important for you to remember, because this was built in 1977. So in 1978, they reconstructed the entire government of the United States. And you don't know that.
No.
That's a problem.
Tim, I have to cut you off because we're down to the last few seconds of the show, and we got to get to CBS News. I really appreciate you coming on. We're going to have you on again. I think it flowed real well for us. I think you gave out a lot of knowledge that people didn't have. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Blessings to every single American. Stand and be counted.
Okay.
All right.
Hey, we're going to close up the show like we always do. While on this road called life, you have to take the good with the bad. Smile when you're sad, love what you got, and remember what you had. Always forgive, but never forget. Learn from your mistakes, but never regret. People change. Things go wrong. Just remember the ride goes on. God bless each and every one of you, and God bless America. I am Jon Marietta, and I am the Hillbilly.